All right, guess we're ready to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stream. Right. It's been a long time coming. I know I've been waiting so damn long before I did a stream like this or did anything to do with what I said I was going to do on my Instagram. For those who are not following me on my Instagram, please go ahead and check that out on my IG page. I've forgotten the name, but it's just look for Steve Nyanumba. I think you'll be able to find it. But regardless, and I think it's also on my bio. I think all that is good. But now, regardless, let's begin. Tackling what it is that we're about to build. Great. Now we're going to move on to a silent level, and I'm going to actually get rid of my Spotify. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stream of today. Today we're going to be starting a new series. This series is going to be called Coding My Startup, where we're going to actually be coding a full-on startup. And I have an idea of whatever it is that I wanted to build, and I've been having it for a very long time. So I'm just going to go ahead and break it down. So over the year of 2022 towards 2023 and 2024 as well, actually, it's 2023. Over throughout the year of 2023, I've been running into a bit of a challenge where we were using Excel sheets to sort out things to do with payroll matters and generating pay slips and things like that. And I found it extremely tedious because if we have the details of these people, what's to say that they're not going to cook things like to do with attendance when it comes to casuals who get paid on a day-by-day basis when they show up to work. And again, Kenya is a very crafty country. Many people will definitely come in and just start utilizing the system as it is to their advantage. So I just decided, you know what, let me craft out a system where we are going to have all things to do with HR be purported into the system. And that's exactly what you see in front of you right here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a full-on HR system that I built. Of course, the name is my name. It's Force HRM. And this is the name of the system that we're going to be building. Over the years that have gone by, 2023, 2024, I also managed to craft a website for this particular system where we could have a calculator, right? And actually be able to input all the earnings and, be able to get like the tax breakdown. So this system, or rather this website, is actually live for you to go ahead and use. And it only calculates based off of Kenyan shillings. So I've not enabled other countries to be able to use this, but in the long run, as we push on and move on forward, we will be able to do this in the process. So as you can see, we have, like, let's say, for example, it's January of 2025, and maybe say the gross salary of somebody earning, maybe say 100,000, and we want to treat it as a gross salary, then we can calculate this. But if we want to get the net salary being 100,000, then we can actually do that to see what the gross salary should be in order for this to happen. And there we have it. It's supposed to be 141,435, which now translates to a net pay of that much. So it moves on forward like this. So you can even see we have our premiums, our affordable housing, income tax, all those different tax deductions that are supposed to be there. This same logic that I have here, I have it inside this application. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a few test situations, right? I'm going to have a few of these guys. There's some that are over here. I've already given them their designations and their contract statuses are active and all that. I could come in here and create an employee. Okay, so the employee's name would be, of course, my name, Steve Nyanumba. I will give my email address and my national ID number. And then I'll probably put in like a photo, but I can leave this blank also. And then I can select the department, information technology, designation, CTO, marital status, I'm single, date of birth is maybe 06111996. Gender is male, and then we have the physical address, the carrier pin, we can leave it as NA for now, and NSSF, we can leave it as blank and blank and blank, all those. Then we have the bank situation. Bank, I will put it at maybe say, I don't know, NCBA bank, and most NCBA bank either starts with 8 or starts with 5. So I could use 8, so maybe say 84, something like that, a random number really, but it looks more like what could be a bank account in NCBA and all that. So I'll just save this, and definitely it saves into the system. So we have this guy over here. Then the next thing we're going to be doing here is to create a contract. So we're going to create a contract for that user, and that user is definitely amongst the last. So we'll select all that. We'll put a fixed term contract, and say now we use this for negotiations, right? This person wants 100,000 net, right? So we can actually do that here. So we say that this situation is taxable. They're going to have maybe say 1 or 2 weekly offs, and then the appointment date, the date of appointment would be now the date when the contract starts being in effect, which will be on 1st of January 2025. Let's say 2025, and it's active for a whole year, so it ends at 31st December 2025. And then we come in here and do salary of 100,000, and like I said, the logic applies. If I can set net or gross salary over here, then I can actually set it over here. So gross salary, net salary. So we can come in here and put net salary and then hit save. Okay, I don't know why it's not saving. Oh, I think there's some issue with this column here, which really needs a recheck. But yeah, that's how we proceed on, and then we come in here and hit save. All right, so once we've saved this data of this particular person is going to be useful when generating the payslips. And there's a lot of things that go into account towards generating the payslips of a particular person. When we come in here and deal with things like, this is all to do with the employee stuff. So there's bank accounts. You can check the bank accounts of these particular users. You can check the list of contracts. You can create multiple employees using an uploadable file. And then we can move on forwards. Now there's this section I have here called datings. Datings has attendances, extra hours. Extra hours is overtime. And then we have leave and then leave requests. So when you come in here into attendances, this is what we're going to check, right? It checks out from date 1 to date 20. If we come in here and check this guy over here who has a contract, and we check the dates that he's supposed to come in, you can see he's been absent for all of them. Those are things that you need to update so that it can actually have a quick fix inside the system. So we'll have, maybe say, add an attendance record. We search for the employee, and we get this employee, we add the date. So the date could be maybe say from 1st, or actually you can add a range of days from 1st of January 2025. I keep on writing 2024. And then we end it at 31st of January 2025. And then the check-in dates from 6:30 p.m. to maybe say 16:30 p.m., 6:30 a.m. to 16:30 hours, which is 4:30 p.m. I'll add this, and it will add the range of days, and these actions over here, this usually deletes the day from the system. So I'd probably come in here and say that for every 7 days they had 2 off. So I'll come in here and just delete this one and this one, and do the same in this one and this one maybe, and then maybe this one and this one, and then we go to the bottom and delete the last one, which is the 5th one, and then we'll save this like this, right? So we've put in 24 days attended, and that works, right? So if you come in here and check the overview, you can see that this person has been to work all the days of the month except for 31st, 26th, 25th, 18th, 16th, 6th, and 7th, which is fair. Then we move on forward to coming in and maybe say we can do extra hours. Extra hours work the exact same way. So it's pretty much the same logic in terms of bringing in, adding the overtime. The only difference is that over here, if we add an overtime record of say, let's say 1 day, so let's say came in to work on the 28th of January 2025, and it's a double shift. So you select over here if it's a double shift or a single shift, all right? So if it has a double shift, you come in here and say yes. If it's like an added overtime, if it's like a just overtime at that particular point, then you just click on no. So in this situation, I want to say yes and then add and then hit save. So now that when we go to the extra hours section, you can see on 28th, they worked double shift, which means they worked on the attendance time and also added an extra shift on this particular time. If it's not a double shift, then it's like half the rate, which usually just adds up as we proceed on. That's in accordance to probable law in the Kenyan Constitution, the Employment Act. So that's how we proceed on from there. Then we have the leaves situation where we can add leave records for these particular users. So if I can add the leave records, like let's say I'll select annual leave, sick leave, maternity leave, paternity, all those different things. And I'll select the employee over here, which is this particular person and all that stuff. But I'm not going to add the record because I want us to get to this point where we're doing the payroll. Then we have leave requests. So we do leave requests in a situation where on the employee side they've requested for leave, and we'll get to the employee side shortly, but as of now let's just move on forward. We have holidays as well, and in terms of holidays, when somebody like inside non-essential service operations, if somebody works during the holiday, they get double the pay. So double the pay of that particular day. So it all stems down towards that, the holidays and all that stuff. So in essential services and hospitality sector, this holiday situation does not apply. Then we have salary adjustments. So we have fines, we have bonuses, we have salary advances, and we have welfare contributions. So how do they work? Fines are just fines. You know what fines are. They're just generally what is supposed to be taken on by the employee in terms of deductions when something happens, maybe say breakages, maybe say a lost item, things like that. Bonuses are earned when, like, let's say, for example, an employee spends their own money to be able to fund to the business. They have to be recompensated, or, in such situations that they're required to have gotten compensation for something that is supposed to come their way. That's where bonuses come in. Then we have salary advances, where salary advances usually they are, generally when an employee takes money from the organization and is supposed to refund it back with their salary at the end of the month. That's what happens with the salary advances. And then welfare contributions. If there's a kitty that contributes a certain amount of their own salary towards a certain cause, and they want it to be deducted from their salary and the organization that is in question. In this situation, this organization actually now contributes for them, then that's what happens. It is like, it's like a salary advance at this particular point. So there's not much of a difference there. Then loans and loan management. So we have loans. When somebody takes a certain amount of money and they need to be paying it slowly in a certain set amount of months, and in most situations they don't include interest, but I will be enabling a certain amount of interest to come into play, such that companies will be also able to dictate the certain levels of interest, because different companies have different policies. If we give each and every single company an allowance to make those policies available, or rather make those systems more robust for their own company rather than just being a system thing, then we can move on forward from there. And then now the main attraction is, and actually we also have some other features to add over here. Let's say, for example, if somebody wants to pay off, like let's say, for example, this is me, right? And I've taken a loan of about maybe say 36,000, right? But I want to pay it in irregular installments. So I'll say the first payment period would be January 2025, and the number of months to repay in this situation would be, depending on how much I want to pay every single month until it ends. So in terms of number of months to repay, we have to take it into account that, let's say, for example, I want to pay, 14,000, right? Let's say we want to pay 14,000. So I'm just going to come in here with the calculator, and I want to pay 14,000 every month until it ends, right? So I'll come in here and just take that 36,000 and divide it by the 14,000 to find out how many months I will repay it in. And when I take this number is what I'm going to be putting here in the number of months to repay. And then when I put in the transaction code, I'm just definitely going to say that I was given in cash, and reason for loan, maybe say moving expenses. Say that I got this job from a different location and I needed some cash to move to this particular location. That works. Then I hit save, okay? So I've added that loan record, but now when I look at my list of loans, you can see it's repaying in 3 months. The reason why it's saying it's repaying in 3 months, check this out. I'll come in here and do 14 and 14, which is a total of 28,000, right? Then plus the 8, which is 36. So that's how it works. The last month will be the 8,000. If I said 3 months evenly, then it will have put 12, 12, 12. But now the way I did it, it took 14,000, 14,000, 8,000. So that's how essentially it's going to be working. And I know this one has said that it has settled, and the only reason why it's settled is because it's generated a payroll for February of 2025 with all those details, like this one here is already set in stone. So I'm just going to come in here and refresh this and let it be the way it is. So I'm just going to delete this for purposes of generating so that we can actually see how it goes, right? So looking at that whole situation, I can come in here now and say that I want to generate the payroll for January of 2025. So to generate the January 2025 payroll, I'll come in here and click on generate. And we'll go ahead and we've generated the 2025 payroll. And then we have this whole breakdown of a lot of items. So we have this is the contract situation, and for each and every single one of them, they are dictating like how much this person has earned in the space of those amount of days, and all that stuff. So we look at it from this point here. So we break it down. The total gross pay in this situation would be 155,122. And the reason why that is because of the extra days that this person has come to work. This person is supposed to have 2 off days, is probably not gone for like maybe 2 others. So in such a situation, it will be very much imperative that, they are given direct compensation. It's actually easier to do that. But yeah, that's how we go ahead. Yeah, we got a super chat. I can see you guys. Gus, thank you so much for. Thank you so much, man. We're still pushing on. We're still pushing on. Thank you so much for the $2, and yeah, we're trying as much as we can. Thank you so much. So the breakdown again as we go back. So we have the total gross pay, 155, 122.54, calculated from the amount of days worked together with the contract evaluation per month, and that's how it comes down to that. So this is 100,000 net per month. But you can see over here, it's broken down as 99,649.07 as net pay. And the reason why it's done that is because of the loan repayment over here. So if we go to our actions over here and we look at this, this actually opens up our pay slip for this particular person. And that's how we go about that. So just giving it time because it's heavily slow, this generator for the PDFs, and this is where we get onto that point, right? So it breaks it down very well. Actually, just breaks each and every single situation down. Where we talk of the gross salary earned, the NSSF contribution, so that we can get the taxable income. So NSSF for most countries, that will be securities. If that needs breaking down, and it's said to be up to 6% of the gross income, and it's supposed to be capped off at 2160, but as of February I hear it's going to be capped off at 4320. So this is it's another thing that's coming up in play. So those are things that we'll have to adjust. And then we'll have the tax, the income tax, which is calculated by a formula that is generated on the KRA portal. So if we go ahead and actually do this, we can actually take the gross salary and actually put it here and take it as gross salary, right? So at the end of it all, you can see the net salary is 109,086.64. But the only reason why there is that huge deduction is because of the loan repayment and other features that are coming into play at that particular point. There's some few things that are changing here, like you can see SHA, the premium SHA is the same. You can see payee here is 37 to 83.19, 37 to 83.19. So all those features that are on this site are also over here. And then another payroll calculator, we can just come in here and say, maybe say payee calculator, right? We can use the one in KRA, we can use this one for Wingo Box, whichever works, right? I have to like this. This is big. This is big. This is big. That's my first super. That's actually my first super chat. Ladies and gentlemen, Gus Viewegg. I don't know how to pronounce your name, man. I hope I've not butchered it. But Gus Viewegg, thank you so much for the $2. That's my first super chat on this channel, or ever, let's say ever. And that's really big. Okay, so KRA's year of taxation only goes up till 2023, which is a problem. So let's actually use the Wingo Box payroll calculator, right? We have January 2025 monthly salary. We'll put that figure 155, 122.54, and then we'll treat it as basic pay, and then we'll select NSSF tier 1 and tier 2 rates, and then we'll round off to the nearest 0.01 and calculate. So you can see we have 110 over here, which is different, but, and that's a big but, payee over here is coming to 36 to 94.30, which I personally don't fully understand what their calculation methods would be, because the calculator is here, right? If we go to pay as you earn, and then we go to calculate tax, right? I'll go to calculate tax, pay as you earn. I don't know why it's not showing us the payee situation. Let's go back home. Income tax. I don't know why. Kenya income tax rates. Nice when it's showing up. Interesting. So the income tax rates, right? Let's actually go to advanced, proceed. So you can see these are the tax rates that were there before. I think this was in 2021, but there were a lot of few changes that had happened, right? So there's yeah. Okay, so let's look at it. It's stated that on the first 24,000 per month or 288,000 per year, it comes to 10%. So this is how it's usually calculated. Let's say this person is earning, let's actually calculate. So let's say this person is earning that 100,000, right? Or we'll take that 155.24. On the first 24,000, they're taxed 10%. So 10% of 24,000 is 2,400. All right. So we'll minus the 24,000. Okay. And then this is what is remaining in terms of being taxed. So that's 2,400. Then on the next 8,333 per month or 100,000 per annum is 25%. So 25% of this value over here is somewhere around 2087.5 or something like that. Let's open another calculator actually, just in case of anything. So we have 83.33, and then we multiply it by 25%, so 0.25, 2083.25. Yeah, there we go. And most of the time, it's actually just taking this 100,000 that is extra and divided by 12 first. So we have to take that 100,000, divide it by 12, and then multiply by 0.25, which now comes to 2083 and a third generally. All right, now coming back here, we minus that 833 extra and 0.3333, of course. All right, and then we'll come back here, all right, and then add this 2,400, which will have this 4483 initially. Now, when we come back to here, on all income amounts in excess of 32,333, which is obviously 24,000 plus 8333, that comes to that per month, or 388. So all values in excess of that comes to 30%. So the values that are in excess of that here in this situation is 122,789, and you have to tax 30% of that. So 0.3. Oops. I think I made a mistake. Let's just go back to history. Yeah, let's go back to history. We pick this number. Paste it here. And then we minus, not minus, but multiply by 0.3, which comes to 36,836. And yeah, that's how we go about that. So we have this 36,836.762001. So we'll take this value over here, and then we put it here in addition, and we come up with a figure over here, 41,320. And now the one thing that most people will not, not account, the applicable monthly personal relief is 2,400 per month. So here is where we minus the 2,400, which you get 38,920.1, right? That's it. And then, of course, there's other reliefs, all right? There's things like the relief on housing levy, which is supposed to be 15% of that. There's relief on this, the shift, which is 15% of that as well. But now, because the housing levy relief has also been removed, there's probably that huge difference between this one and this over here, 38,920. So what is the difference? The difference would be 36,294, and that giving me 2626.1, right? So yeah, I'm looking for this 2626. Which obviously is not ideal. Actually, by the way, like I said, Shift, it's supposed to take 15% of this. So if we come in here and do 15% of, so we'll come in here and do 15% of 4265, we'll come in and get this 639. Yeah, which is supposed to get on to be subtracted from all that. And then there's also the housing levy relief. So the difference between this here, 36,294, and mine, which is 37,283, with all those values, is that whole housing levy relief, I believe. But then payee is still more, I don't know. So, yeah, we'll look into it definitely to see what is the difference between what is going on over here, because there's a high likelihood that if I come into June of 2024, I'll get a different rate. Yeah, 37,668. So there's definitely some different rates that are there. But you can see there's also this accountability situation over here. Whenever the calculator that is being put over here is calculating stuff, you can see definitely they've had to put the rates for us on the side so that we can also know what is going on. But yeah, that's essentially the situation here with this particular system. And we are done reviewing that system. So now when we want to make the payments, this system, what happens is, because most people like to upload banking situations or banking slips to the, like, let's say, for example, the online banking model of KCB and ABSA and all that, the two banks that have enabled for that, and most people enjoy doing that because it gives them better documentation. So the banks that have enabled to do that is KCB and ABSA. And there are more banks that will definitely be ongoing, will be going into addition. But these are the two that I have enabled. So when we go to payments, when we want to make a payment, we'll come in here and click on this button, which is to make the payments. So I'll come and click on the one for January, and we'll be able to see it inside the payments area. So if I click on this, you'll be able to see the payments that we're making. So this is 99,649 that we're making to here. Then there's 51,248 we're making, 33,987, and 19,745. Those are the payments that we are making in the process. And now once we want to make the payments, let's say we make the payments by downloading the payment slip. So this same button that we clicked earlier on the wallet side, we click on it again. And I'm sure you can see it. So now I'm going to actually I'm going to have to minimize my camera for now. All right, so we're going to come in here, click this button again. Okay, and once we click on it, we can see the banking advice that goes into the KCB bank situation. So I'll come in here and open it. And then you can see this is the file that you upload. And most of the time, whenever you're doing it for KCB, you have to come in here and export this file as a text file that is delimited by the tab function or the tab button, right? So that it's a tab delimiter. And once you do that, it will come up here like this, and then you save it. Then I'll come in to that area where I have saved it. And I'll close this first. So I don't know why it's not showing up, because it should show up over here. Unless it's saved on the desktop, I don't know. No, it should show up over here in the documents. Let's try that again. It should save in the documents. So I'll come in here, come in export, change file type, text tab delimited, and then it gives me the options of where I want to save it. So you can see it goes to documents. So I can just go ahead and just put documents again, and it saves. So now once it saves, all right, this is how the text file will be looking. And this is essentially what is supposed to be uploaded into the bank application. So yeah, that's how we go about the whole entirety of the system. We have to just take on the users, update attendances, and just keep it moving like that. That's how we operate on these HR applications. It's not manual per se, because as you can see, the Excel sheet has been generated automatically. But regardless, I can see that there's still a lot of manual work that needs to be done in the process. But that's what HR people are there for, right? I mean, you just need one at this point. You don't need many people working for you at that particular point. So, what am I going to do with this? So as you can see, this application only operates, and by the way, I need to also show you how it works on the employee side and the employee's dashboard. So I'm just going to come in here and do PHP artisan Q work. And then I'm going to let it run. I'm pretty sure it's going to run the send welcome email job. Yes, there it is. And then we are going to go ahead and try as much as we can to open it up. So we'll go to Mailtrap. Mailtrap. So Mailtrap.io is a testing tool for testing mail sending. And I love it. I absolutely adore using this tool, because it's so seamless in terms of integration. As you can see, we have here account created for Steve Nyanumba. Then you can see welcome to Vapor Technologies. Greetings, Steve Nyanumba. Thank you for joining our team. We're excited to have you on board and look forward to working together. Please find below your login credentials to access the system. So I'll come in here and take this login credentials, go back to my test site. I'll come in here and sign out. And then I'll sign back in with my email and password that I have been given over here. So I'll just copy the password and then come in here and do the email. So I know the email, which is this one. And password is this one. So I'll have to paste it afresh. Yeah, and there we go. And it directs us to our profile page the first time. So I'll come in here. We'll see that we can update our password. Yeah. And yeah, I can even upload a new image if I want to. So I can come in here and go to my pictures and actually upload a new image. So the image that I will probably upload is this one. And no larger than 5 MBs. So I don't know if that one is larger than 5 MBs. No larger than 5 MBs. This one is 13 MBs. Oops. This one is 1.26 MB. This one is probably smaller, so 637. We'll use that one. And yeah, there's no particular way of going ahead and saving. And then of course there's some few issues that I have not fixed yet within this application. Like I upgraded recently to Laravel, Livewire 3 and Laravel 11, and it doesn't use this function anymore. So yeah, those are things that I probably need to upgrade in the process. But yeah, some few features here and there. As you can see, we have our payment details, we have our basic details, and then we also have our government details. And then we go to our dashboard. The dashboard is where I should be, and I can see my last active contract, which is this one. I can be able to see my attendance. I can be able to see like all the things that are pertaining to me personally, which is very good. I can see total loan deductions. I can see my gross earning for that particular month, and yeah, that's how we move on forward. If I can look at February has a negative, of course, but then you see that this negative never usually comes into play, because you see this person has not come to work at whatever point. So if they have not come to work, there's still some value in their contract, and then there's a total deduction that is already coming into effect. It almost rarely never comes to play, so it's not something that we look forward to debugging, honestly. But we're going to debug this as well. Then we have the payslips. We can generate payslips for this particular user on their own. As you can see, I can click on this and the payslip will come loading for this particular user. There we go. So you can see our payslip is right there. And then the next thing that we've not done also is to check out leave requests. Leave requests, as I mentioned, is the point where these users are going to come in here and request for leave. So if I come in here and do a new leave request, for example, right? And then I come in here and say that I want annual leave starting the 2nd of February 2025, all the way till maybe say 4th or 5th of February 2025. Then the reason for leave is to visit my mom. Let's just say that that's the situation. We'll save this. Of course, now this emit function does not work because of this whole situation. But everything that has come in before this emit function is all worked. So if I come in here and look at my, you see the send new leave request email job, and that email job sends it over here. I should be able to receive it by now. Yeah, there we go. So leave request made by Steve Nyanumba, and then you can see to hr@vapor.co.ke. And we have this leave request notification. Dear admin, this is to inform you that Steve Nyanumba has requested for leave before the details for the request to leave. So there's the employee name, employee details, leave type, start date, end date, reporting back, and then the reason, right? And then we can see the review. Please review the request at your earliest convenience. You can take the necessary action by logging into the admin portal. If you have any questions or need further information, feel free to reach out to the support team. Best regards, support team, Vapor Technologies, and so on and so forth. That's how we work. This system is as robust as it comes, but we can even make it a lot more robust in the process. And the reason why I'm planning on doing this whole series is for that reason alone. First things first, let's actually get rid of the few bugs that I have already seen. The first thing is the emit functions that are there. So these emit functions are inside this section over here called Livewire, and then we go to employee. Then we'll start by profile. We'll start with profile, and then inside profile we have that part for emit. So this emit. So I'll come in here and replace this emit, okay, with this dispatch. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and craft it for those different areas. So we'll come in here and just do like this. Actually, replace all of them. And then you see the part for the parameters is where I don't want this. What I want is for this to actually be like this. Let's actually work it out like this. like that. Okay. Moving on to the next dispatch function, we come in here and just delete this, and this is the new way of declaring the emit function, or rather the dispatch function at this point. We have this dispatch, we'll delete this, and then we'll say successfully saved your account details, and all that good stuff is finally out strong. There's a fourth one that we're missing, and that fourth one should be at the top. Yeah, here it is. Or maybe there's a fifth one that we need to actually check out. So we'll save it like that, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it for all these stuff. Great. So now as we move on forward, what are we gonna do? We're actually going to test this at this point. There's something else from the leave request area. So not only the profile, even the pay slips, there would be a point. P9 forms, there would be a point. That we are using emit instead of dispatch. So we'll just come in here and replace that. And we'll come in and call it a warning. And that's how we go about that. And the P9 forms area is done. We go to the leave forms, which is the leaves, which is not done. Contracts, we have dashboard, and we don't have any area. So we have this create, edit, and index for the loan requests. We have the leave requests, and this is leave requests. This is where it is at. So I'll replace everything, then start by editing all those items that are required. So success. And then we have warning over here. And then I think that's pretty much it, because there's no other part that is emitting the arguments that are required. So yeah, that's how we go about that. We'll go to the edit. The first one here is here. I'll just come in here and edit them individually. All right, dispatch. All right, and there we go, and we are good to go here. I think even this one is requiring us to do that same procedure. So I've edited that, and I also need to edit this. And this as well. Boom. Oh, and delete this as well. Right. And I think that's the employees section. I'm sure these other ones don't have anything. And I don't think the security side also has anything to it as well, because you have these ones. We've not actually edited anything in the security section. We've actually not even enabled the security section in this application. So, you know, it's all good. Now, how do we move from here? Because, I mean, oh, and leave requests, actually. We have the where did we get this error? Yeah, this is leave request overview. So we'll come into the index, open the file, and then there's that part where the button is lying so close to the header on the card. And here, all we just need to do, instead of ML auto, margin left auto, it's supposed to be margin start auto. So start and left, right. That's how it works. And then, yeah, we have that here. Now also actions, I'm sure the font awesome. So this one will just be BI add. Then we have BI pencil. So BI pencil. And then we have FSFA trash. So this will be BI in case we ever revive that one. And yeah, that's how we go about that. So I'm just going to save this and then refresh this, and you can see our pencil pops up right there. Great. So I guess there's nothing much else that we can sit here and debate about, because this is essentially what we are going to be coding, or rather recoding or reimagining into a different new project that is over here. So that being said, that is episode 1. I don't know how long I've been streaming for, so that we can evaluate whether or not we're going to start coding. Let's see. That is 55 minutes explaining the entirety of the app, and we're going to now do the bare bones features in the next hour. So until then, let's take a break, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, let's take a short break, and we will be back shortly. Okay, we're back. All right, so we're going to take a more informal approach. I'm not going to stay so focused on looking at the camera and all those different things. I'm not going to focus on the code. So for those who are actually tuned in and want to ask questions, I believe now is the time. You can send in your questions. I will be sure to answer each and every single one of them, and hopefully we're going to get along on the stream. So let's proceed on, ladies and gentlemen. So I just want to state this first of all, that the model that we're going to be using in order to develop this application is on a basis of right now, the way this application is situated is per organization, one deployment per organization, such that for each and every single company that is using this application, we have links, we have separate domains with a separate hosting and storage all provided for that. And the size of the storage per company is maximum 500 megabytes, maximum. And the reason why it's a maximum of 500 megabytes is we don't have any document storage. The images per employee is probably like about 200 kilobytes maximum. Again, maximum is actually 2048, which is 2 MBs. And most organizations have like about 60 employees. So with 60 employees, you're getting up to 120 megabytes. If there's any other like extra storage that is actually required, then that's what it costs. So you can definitely see, I mean, if we go to AWS situations, of course, some of these applications, given that they don't require a lot of resources and a lot of storage, then putting it on shared hosting is not a crime, honestly. But, and the shared hosting package that we normally use is Hostinger. So we look into that as well, right? So these are the different sites for that. So we're just going to come in here and go into our Amazon Web Services so that we can actually look at the S3, because that's essentially what I imagine. Because now when it comes to evaluation of whether or not this project is viable, we have to look at the cost of actually deploying this application and the cost that will come back from the users. So if we come into pricing, let's actually go to pricing. And then we learn about the AWS pricing calculator, right? So we'll just go to create an estimate. Choose a region, maybe say local zone, US East is fine, I think. I don't know the whole essence of using AWS, because what I've been told is that it's actually $0.023 per gigabyte, I think. Yeah, something of the sort. Oh no, per gigabyte or per megabyte, I don't know. Either one of those. And then you only pay for what you use. So it's a model that actually would work. Yeah, so here we are, the simple storage service. We have the simple storage service, which would be like, now let's say, for example, per month we have GBs. And if we come in here and just do calculator, we calculate the number of gigabytes we'll be having per company. So per company on average, let's say they have up to like 200 employees maximum. Let's even do 400 employees. For each employee, we're going to allocate maybe say 200 megabytes. We can even do 500 megabytes, right? That's 200,000 megabytes. So in gigabytes, you'll divide this by 1024. We get 195 195. I don't know if the audio is good here. Let me just check this. Hopefully the music is not too loud. I'm just gonna check this out. Okay, I think it's looking good. Okay, I think it's looking good. Okay, so this is the number of terabytes or number of gigabytes that we'll be using in this application per customer, right? Or per organization. Now, if we take it into account that we're probably going to have this number of organizations, like maybe say 1,000 or 1,500 organizations, then we're looking at this number of gigabytes per month. And if we divide that by 1024, again, we are going to get 286 terabytes per month. So if we put an even 300, and then we specify amount of data is already stored in S3, and then we'll say, I don't know, enter amount of requests, I don't know how many. But generally, this is how it looks. So we have the 300 terabytes per month. The tiered price for that is 0.023 per GB, which is coming to 1177.6, which is not bad considering the fact of there being a situation where, like, let's say, for example, I'm charging per employee per month or even per transaction, right? If each and every single company we're talking about in the lowest of lowest has 20 employees, okay, and we have 1,500 companies that have enrolled. So at minimum with 20 employees, 1,500 companies will give me 30,000 employees. If I charge, let's say, 150 per employee, then it comes to 4.5 million. So it comes to 4.5 million while only spending 1177.6 multiplied by 130, which is 153. So if you subtract this from 4.5 million and then also subtract all the taxes that we'll probably be paying, it comes to about 4 mic, which is not bad. Which is not bad at all. I should even say 3.5 million, which is actually quite decent if I was to even say so myself, right? And that's on a minimum, actually, like that's minimum 20 employees, let's say. And there's so many organizations that would probably even have less, maybe even 10 employees. So even if we did like maybe say 5 employees per organization, right, and charge 150 shillings per employee, that's coming to about 750 in a month. We have 1,500 companies coming in. That's still a million. Still comes to a million. That is made in that particular month. So it's not so bad. It's not so bad whatsoever. So if I'm looking at this particular situation here, we have the tiered price where we have 51,200 GB coming in from the first tier, which is this amount. Then we have the second tier, so the total cost will come into 6809.60, which is 6809.60. Coming to a total of right? So that's the maximum that we probably spend on, 1,500 companies having 200 employees each, which is fair, because now if you're only paying for what you use, then that means that you're going to definitely pay, like, say, 1% of this. Was it 1% or 10%? Which is not bad at all, not bad at all. So yeah, that's how we look at it. Another way we could go about it is we could go ahead to Hostinger and use Hostinger's VPS hosting. So for those of you who are not familiar with Hostinger, Hostinger is a service provider for hosting of all kinds. So there's cloud hosting, VPS hosting, and shared hosting. So yeah, that's how we go about that. I actually want to log in and see the pricing for shared hosting. Pricing for the VPS hosting actually. Okay, so we have you can see there's this giant hosting sale, and you can see get a new hosting plan, right? Now we have different levels of hosting. This is mostly for shared hosting, right? So there's business web hosting, there's a premium web hosting, and then there's the single web hosting. I normally use the premium web host, the business web hosting, it's quite nice. I can't even complain about that. But that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for VPS. And here at VPS, I would want to actually check out the prices for VPS hosting. So you can see this web hosting, cloud hosting, and VPS hosting. So we'll come in here and see VPS hosting, and then it gives you like all these different plans. Per month, you can get an 8-core CPU with 32, is it 8 core? 8 thread. An 8 thread CPU, 32 gigs of RAM, 400 gigabytes of NVMe disk space, and 32 terabytes of bandwidth, which is not bad whatsoever. We have one snapshot, one weekly backup, and weekly backups that are going to be there in the process. Then we have a dedicated IP, full root access, AI assistant, malware scanner, and so on and so forth. So all this is coming in together with the storage. We've not accounted for all these different server stuff inside the AWS system. So that's where all this comes in. DigitalOcean is another option that you could use. But yeah, I would probably get a VPS. If not a VPS, I would probably do cloud hosting. Okay. But you know what? At this rate, we'd always take the VPS hosting because it gives you enough. At this KVM 8, it gives you enough for starting the application. You don't need a lot to actually go ahead and proceed on with the application. And all the assumptions I made is all on stress test. All the assumptions that I made when I was doing the calculations are all on stress test. We might find that this is enough to keep the application alive, especially within Kenya. But if you're moving on along and trying to upgrade a few features using AI and all those different things, things will definitely change. You can see even a VPS being used for an online gaming server. And you can see game panel hosting, as you can see, it's here. So you can host servers for different games as well. There's mod support, full root access, DDoS protection, so on and so forth. Yeah, so this is excellent. This is excellent stuff. So we'll probably go ahead and use this one. This one is $60 a month. Don't be fooled by the $19.99 a month, because you see what is supposed to happen is you're supposed to buy the $19.99 a month for 24 months. In fact, I think you could even go for 48 months, but and then you can buy as many servers as you want in this situation. And for one server, buying it for 24 months will come to a total of 563.72 per year, per 24 months actually, which is not so bad. $563 is roughly about 70,000 Kenyan shillings, right? 70,000 is quite good for 4 years. For 2 years, it's not bad. Times 130. Yeah, 73,286, which is not so bad. But if you're buying it for 1 month, you buy it for $42, which is roughly like about 5,000 to 6,000 Kenyan shillings. Buy it for a whole year, you're spending a lot less, but still goes all the way till 3,500, which is 352. And if you move on to the 24-month section, we have the 563.72. My goodness. And then you can buy like more than one server. So the point where you're buying more than one server, this is how much you're buying these items for. So I'm just going to cancel this and then we move on forward. Before we even start hosting, we have to make sure that the application works. So, what are we planning to do? Essentially, what we're planning to do here is import everything that is on this side into the new application situation that we're creating, which is here. But the logic behind the backend is going to change a lot, because given that this is one company per hosted application, I want to make it so that we have multiple companies under one code base, and then actually just make it work. I hope that makes sense to like most of the guys who have tuned in, but that's how we want to make it work. So I want to actually focus, and this music is a bit distracting in the process. And I actually had to go and get some juice. I was debating whether or not to get coffee or to get juice, but the taste of coffee is really rubbing off the wrong way on me right now. So it's the juice, it is. Okay, let's move. I'm just going to listen to the music to move. Okay, so given that this has been installed over here, we're just going to come in here and just call it force.test. It's going to open up separately over here. Now we're starting for real. I've created a text file over here that allows me to like actually create models and migrations all together. And all this stuff are just totally different. We've added company roles and the companies. We've added the roles and administrators functions. We've added the companies. So you can see users belong to a company. So that's how we've done it. So company role user table. And we also have to create a company users table. So company user table, where one user can have multiple companies in the process, and that's how we want to go and work this thing out. Yeah. So it's going to come in and paste it inside here. Okay, so I've pasted it in here and it's generated for me all these migrations, all of them without fail. Well, what's worrying really is I actually haven't initialized any gates. So I'm just going to come in here, delete this again. Let's actually delete all of this. Delete also the models. The only model that was working here was the user's model, I believe. Yeah, it's only the user's model. All right, so let's begin again, okay? First things first, get init. Git add, git commit. Git push origin master. We have not even enabled a remote repository, so it's okay. Let's just leave it like that. Okay, now I'll copy this again. All right, paste it here again. Great, we're good. So the rules table, we have the title. sorry, string title. Now we're going to change things up a little bit. We're going to have our JSON, and then we're going to have permissions here. Yeah, just like that. The same thing is going to go and occur inside the company roles table. Then we have administrators. Administrators are pretty much like the users, except first name, last name, email, password, I think. That's exactly what we just need. So first name, email, password, right. Remember token and profile photo path. So just going to copy all those, go back to our administrators table, then get rid of current team ID. I'm sneezing today. It's crazy. Okay, let's move. So you have the administrator role, which is roles and administrators pivot. So it's going to come in here. I'm just going to come in and do foreign ID, role ID. So role ID, constraint, and then we have the administrator ID. Constraint as well. Then we'll do primary. Person composite. So I have the role ID. And the administrator ID. Company rules, title and permissions. We have the company's table. Now the details for the company's table. All right, let's begin here. It represents company's table and robust as per Kenyan standard. MPESA config is wild. So I have the company name, the registration number, which is unique, but we can leave it nullable, right? I think we can leave it nullable. Actually, we can't leave it nullable. All companies have to have their own registration numbers. Have the carrier pin, have the email, they have the phone number. And we have the website, the logo. Physical address is definitely a must. Now, here's the thing. In most situations, we will know how to go about, like what M-Pesa usually does is it enables us to have our consumer keys and our consumer secrets, and that's it. The rest, it's up to you to build the app. And the passkey as well. So instead of having an M-Pesa configuration, we're going to have strings here. Then we're going to say M-Pesa consumer key, M-Pesa consumer secret, M-Pesa passkey. Right. I'm going to leave the plans table blank for now. And the subscription payments and the subscriptions also blank for now. Actually, in fact, what I'll do here, I'll do 43. Then we have company role user. So we have the company role ID and the user ID. So company role ID constraint. And we have the user ID here. That's it. I sense there may be something wrong somewhere here, and I'm not even wearing my specs. I'm going to close off stream in about 20 minutes actually, so yeah. Just a few things I need to make sure that are happening within this application is that the structure at the very top of the application is working, such that we have roles to administrators, we have company roles to companies, to users of the company, users that belong to the company. Now, the problem here lies in the situation where I think users can register themselves and then they can also register their companies into the system, which is fair. But administrators cannot register themselves. They have to be registered by a superior administrator, which we will declare in, in installation level. I need another queen cake. So this is going to be a long coding process, I'd say. I think from here on out, we'll start keeping things short, like vlogs at this point. I was talking about implementation of this entire application so that we can be able to, look forward to this application coming live as fast as possible. I mean, essentially, what I would want to do here is copy every single piece of code when it comes to all these different, what's it called? The different database tables. In fact, we can. It's just that I probably wanted to show you the code itself. So let's actually copy all this. And then the logic is going to be a lot different at this point onwards. Put it side by side. Use designations. So we have employment types. But I'm sure this is not all for employment types. We have title and description, and then we have other constraints that were added here. Which are all here. Go to departments. And this is why I want to close up stream early, because my mind is having a mind block at the moment. So yo, where's the same name popping up twice? WordPress Quick Fix, welcome to the channel. Thank you for subscribing. But I see you subscribed 2 days ago as well, so I'm wondering why this pop-up has happened just now. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in and subscribing. I don't know if you're on the stream right now. Yeah, just putting them side by side to be able to get all these different yeah, I think we're good. We're doing well. We're doing quite well. Because we've done roles, we've not done administrators, but it should be the same as the users table. Then we have the administrator role table, then we have the company roles table, then the companies table. Then we should have users. Users is the one that usually attaches to the companies, so we're good with that one. And then we have, we should have the company role users table somewhere, which is over here. where we attach the company role to the users, which is fine. It's already done. You said subscriptions we're going to skip, and till companies were done. So now we need banks. And now banks, we will come and get them from this side. And I don't know where the banks are. I'm wondering where the banks are here on this side. Create biometrics, create loans, bonds. Banks table. Oh, it was just under salary payments. Yeah, so now we have this part, this section. Now we could go ahead and actually add all these banks into the system, but there's not really any need at the moment. We'll put it much later, I think. I think much later. Actually, no, let's put it now. Let's put it now. Because all these banks are the banks that are going to be required in the Kenyan system. Then, of course, you need to import DB. What time is it? We have 9 more minutes. So now we have company users table. For some of these, I just need to have to hard code this. So the company user table is a pivot table. Taking the foreign ID. And then we come to company user. So company ID. Constraints. Then we have the user ID constraint. There we go. Now we have to do a primary key. So of course the table primary, and then we'll pass in the company ID, user ID. So departments is done, designations is done, employee types is done. Contracts. Now contracts, we definitely have to copy from here. So where are the contracts? Employee contracts. Then we'll come in here and copy all of this. Although I will not include soft deletes. And over here it's employee ID and designation ID, start date, end date, employment type ID, salary, contract path. That's okay. I'm keeping a good habit here, but I am so tired, I swear. Probably need to go and black out for now, but we're doing well. We're doing well. So we have the contract side, contract table right there. Then we have now the employees table. So now here, we need a very robust employees table. And what I'm intending to do here is either copy what it is that we have here, where we have this employees details table. We could deploy everything over here. Yeah, I think why not? But even this one, I don't think we need things like religion. Storing religion maybe not really important, but it could be important in terms of calculating employee churn. So this is something that will probably keep as robust as possible. Let's go. So you can see employees. We have the company ID, first name, last name, middle name, national ID, Caribbean, NSSF, NHIF, email, phone number, date of birth. Then we have the gender, and we have marital status, job title. Job title may not be needed, but it's all good. Basic salary, allowances, physical address, county, city, date of employment. Is active, that's the employee status, which we'll use for the contract with the contracts. So that one is out. And then you have bank details, which is a JSON. So bank details should just be bank number, bank account, bank ID, and then the bank account number, right? Then we have next of kin name, next of kin relationship, next of kin phone, and timestamps. So I'm just going to copy this all because it looks like it's essential. Okay. Oh yeah, so I said we're going to remove job title because this one is redundant. And the reason I've removed it is because if you go back here, we're going to use designation ID instead. So I'm just going to come in here, copy this, and go ahead and paste it here. Is active is going to run through with the contracts. Okay, and I think we're almost done. So there's next of kin relationship, and then next of kin phone. So those ones are the best versions. We'll just change this from foreign ID, and then we'll come and use bank ID. And make it nullable, but also make it constrained. The next of kin name, next of kin relationship, next of kin phone, and we're good to go. Actually, even this next of kin phone doesn't need to be unique because you can have brothers who are getting employed by the same company. Next of kin is the father. Both of them are going to use the father's phone number. Such a situation is going to be like that. So you can't have it unique. And one thing that I've also not enabled here is once you have an email, you also have to have a password. Right, and yeah, I think that's all. That's all for now, actually, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to leave it at that. But now, at least you've gotten a clue in terms of what it is that we're building in the process. And in the long run, it's going to apply, it's going to make sense, it's going to be powerful. It's going to be very useful for most organizations, especially the SMEs. because it's going to be a price that is very much affordable, very much intuitive. And yeah, that's it for everything, ladies and gentlemen. I am sleepy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crash for the night, and then we will come in and recheck our statistics for this particular application in the following morning. Please do indeed stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care and God bless.